ability to form the government, asking to be able to form the government. We also know that right now Kumaraswamy, along with the delegation of Congress leaders, are on their way to the governor's house as well, citing that they have 117 MLAs. The BJP right now, with one independent, has 105. Mr. Soli Sorabjee, good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for speaking with us here on Mirror Now. I really appreciate your time. This obviously boils down to protocol and legality and precedents. Where do you think the governor, from a legal point of view purely, is going to lean? Should he be inviting here the party with the single largest party short of majority to prove their numbers, or the coalition that is comfortably passing that halfway mark?
No, in my view, the proper course of the governor is to invite the leader of the single largest party to form the government and give him a short period to prove his majority on the floor of the House. That's the place where it should be tested. Short period for about 1 week or 10 days at the most, so as to prevent any possible indulgence in horse trading. That's the correct way to do it. That's what the single largest party deserves to be called. But if it fails to prove its majority, then of course the governor, next thing will be to call the leader of the coalition to prove its majority and see what happens. After all, the governor has to assess the situation in Karnataka on its merits, uninfluenced by what happened in Manipur or Goa or something else. And the sooner it does, the better. But suppose even the coalition is not able to form a government, are not able to really come with a prospect of a stable government, then unfortunately, President's rule seems to be the only option.
Mr. Sorabjee, you said that they have to decide based on the merits of the case in Karnataka. What should be, in your opinion, the merits on which the governor should decide?
Merits is first who has the largest number. So that you won't have any subjectivity there. Clear. Largest single party. If it fails to do so, then the coalition. So that's the way to go about it. We don't want any governor's personal views or personal fancies in it. He should go by certain conventional norms, conventional methods to do it. And if he exercises discretion bona fide, I don't think any court will interfere with that.
Right. And Mr. Sorabjee, if, as you say, the largest single party, which is the BJP, ought to be invited to prove its strength on the floor, then my next question is, the BJP is currently short of 7 MLAs. Is it possible, is there a legal, ethical way to bring those 7 MLAs on board without getting them to either default or resign or abstain from voting?
That's difficult. I don't know how it will happen. He has to see the situation as it exists. In Karnataka, the whole thing is very fluctuating. One doesn't know what happens. But even at a point of time, the governor has to decide at some point of time, if he's sure, if his assessment is this particular party will be able to form a stable government, invite the leader of that party, or invite the leader of the coalition, if the other thing fails.
And Mr. Sorabjee, there have been accusations from both the Congress and the JDS, although I must tell you they have none of them have been able to furnish any proof of horse trading. They're saying that their MLAs are being offered 100 crores or more and cabinet berths in order to defect to the other side. Is that illegal? Does it come under bribery? Or is it just immoral?
No, of course you can't. It's immoral, completely immoral, not done at all. But that is precisely why short time should be given to prevent horse trading and such charges.
And also, Mr. Sorabjee, the governor was faced with this problem starting last evening. By about 12 or 1 o'clock in the afternoon is when the first letter from the JDS and the Congress came out. He hasn't given his decision now. It's 2:30 in the afternoon. The longer he takes to decide, does it allow for more opportunity for horse trading?
But surely must give the governor reasonable time. You can't expect him to act in a hurry. He should do it promptly. I agree. But some reasonable time he has to make a proper assessment. It's a very important function, a delicate function. And you can't say he must do it within 2 hours or 3 hours. That's not correct.
Right.
He must do it as reasonably as possible, practical.
Right, and Mr. Sorabjee, you did say, of course, that he should give a short amount of time, thereby limiting opportunity for horse trading. There's no qualification, legally at least, at what time should be offered to the largest single party to prove their numbers. So what would you say is a short amount of time or a fair amount of time to offer at this point?
I think yes, that's right. There can't be any limitation like that. 4 days, 8 days, 7 days, depends on the situation in each case. So as I said, it depends on the existing realities in a particular case, and that will determine that amount of time should be given. That's for the government to decide.
And we've also heard now from the Congress headquarters in New Delhi that if the governor decides to call on Mr. Yediyurappa, they may approach, they may move the Supreme Court. Do you believe they have a case there?
Well, I'm not an astrologer, but if you ask me, the Supreme Court or any other court, High Court, is not likely to interfere in the exercise of governor's bona fide exercise of his discretion. And it's a gross case. If the governor, after giving an opportunity to the parties, has come to a particular decision, well, that decision cannot be taken to court and challenged successfully. I don't think so.
Mr. Sorabjee, in this particular case, does the anti-defection law come into play if there are MLAs who vote against their own party? And my simple question is, if an MLA were to resign and abstain, he'd only do it if he had been offered a great deal of money.
Well, that's a very grey area as to what the members will do. That depends on the whip what the party issues. But actually, you're right. The anti-defection law has not worked out very well in practice, has given rise to many anomalies, and I suppose they need to be really taken care of, need to be removed. As far as possible, it can be done. But you can't lay down a general rule on every case. The general rule is governor act bona fide, make a bona fide assessment as who will be the best person to provide a stable government in the state, and then act accordingly. So the governor may get wrong. After all, no human being is infallible. But that's the least imperfect way of doing things.
So, and in your opinion, Mr. Sorabjee, the largest single party here, being the BJP, would offer the most stable option for a government?
Yes, that's right. But suppose they are not able to prove the majority. Suppose they are not governor, but call them correctly to prove the majority on the floor of the House. But in the case they are not able to do it, because many things happen. People change sides, people change their minds. Money passes in some cases. So therefore, the general principle is leader of the single largest party to be called, ask him to prove his majority in a short time, on the floor of the House. That's important. I repeat, floor of the House, not in the compounds of the Raj Bhavan. And then act accordingly. If that doesn't come about, then the coalition, leader of the coalition, should be asked. Absolutely.
Mr. Sorabjee, I want to thank you again for giving us your time here on Mirror Now. I really appreciate the clarity you've offered both me and my viewers. It has helped us understand the problem a great deal. Soli Sorabjee, former Attorney General and very, very senior legal mind, they're telling us that Karnataka's governor ought to decide based on the merits of the case in Karnataka, not based on what happened in Manipur or Goa, but based on the needs of Karnataka.